Hello, hello, hello. I'm waiting to see who will tune in, so I'll give it a minute here. The topic is projecting from a new perspective. Projection is a huge theme in not only the New Age community, but also in the psychological crowd, okay? Those who like dissecting the mind, especially when seeking to understand its power. What is a projection? How do we project onto each other? We constantly hear people saying to one another, well, what you see in me that you don't like is a projection of your own self. We constantly hear this, people saying this. Well, we see all sides of the argument. We see people who say, well, it must be a projection. Then we see people who say, well, that doesn't make any sense. We can't become victims in that way. And the point is, every angle has its truth. And when we see something that we don't like, how are we seeing that thing within ourselves? It would become very complicated to each time we see something that we don't like, or each time we see something that makes us uncomfortable, we try to dissect it to find within it the reflection that is us. Ultimately, in that deep knowing that everything is one, we can just accept that, yes, some part of this must be reflecting a part of me. But that's not where the key lies. That's very limiting, and it entangles us even more deeply into the situation in a way that is not necessarily the highest good for the one. And so when we see something that we don't like in another or in our environment, ultimately what we can do is look at it and see its opposite inside of it. This is what the law of polarity tells us, that lying within the thing is its opposite. And so this brings a whole new meaning to the idea that, oh, while we're busy hating someone or not liking someone, we are also simultaneously robbing ourselves of the opportunity to love ourselves more. There's no more or less. There's no amount when it comes to love. Love is infinite. So that right there is a little red flag that maybe the way we are programmed to look at those things that we hate is maybe a little off, needs some tweaking. And I'm going to paint a different picture here. So when we see that thing that we don't like, what is our thought? Our thought is, well, I don't like, let's give an example. I don't like how sharp that person is being with their words. And instead of saying, how is this a reflection of me, and how am I too sharp with my words? That is such a limited perspective. It's not just what meets the eye. It's not that shallow. It's not that obvious. It's a much deeper concept to understand that that thing we're looking at and don't like is a reflection of us. So instead of staying in that limited perspective, we can break free of it by seeing how in that moment when our consciousness is being occupied by that thought, in this case, the thought being, I don't like the sharpness of that person's words and tone. Instead, in that moment, we could be thinking, it's opposite. I love when people speak in a soft, loving tone. Or I love speaking in a soft, loving tone. So the point is that we only have one consciousness. We only have one awareness. And at any given time, it can only be filled with one thing. It's either being filled with this or that. It's either being filled with the negative or the positive. And so instead of just thinking the negative thing and then stopping right there, or thinking the negative thing and then trying to pick ourselves apart to see how we attracted it, instead we can use everything as material to go deeper. We can be the true magicians, the true alchemists. And when something comes up that we don't like about our own reflection, we can just see its opposite. We can say, oh, thank you for pointing the way to the thing that I do like, to the thing that I do want to see. And this provides an opportunity for us to use our awareness in a way that is for the highest good of the one. And there's no guilt. There's no, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have thought that. I should have just gone straight to the good point. No, it doesn't work like that. The negative points to the positive and vice versa. We need that one to see the other. And ultimately, the shadow is just an illusion of the one light, which is not just a light that you and I see in this realm. The original light is beyond the concept of which most of us perceive it as here now. And so we never have to feel guilt or shame about needing that reflection, whether it's inside of us or seemingly outside of us. Whatever it is, it all is material to get to that which we do want. And hopefully that which we do want is in reflection of what the highest good wants, because only then will we access real power to perform such alchemy. Real power to have such divine thoughts. So yes, in a way, when we look at those things that we don't like, or we spend our energy hating, in a way we are robbing ourselves of loving ourselves. But you see, time is infinite, so nothing's ever lost. As long as we realize this right now and do something with it, then great. The point is that there's an infinite amount of love and light in this universe. It's where we come from and it's where we will return. So how can we use this awareness that we have in this dimension to open up to that light? How can we use our expression for the highest good of the one? Whatever we see that we don't like, we can flip it inside out and see what we do love, therefore making the most of every single opportunity that we come across in this existence. So this is more of a scientific approach. Again, for those of you who just tuned in now, it's not about dissecting the thing, the reflection. How can I find that this is something I attracted? The point is we attract our realities, and that's it. And the more we try to get into each and every detail, picking out how did I attract this, how did I attract this, as far as, especially as far as a negative situation, the ego doesn't want to look at that. There's some part of the ego that doesn't want to look at that, and so it will be complicated. Whereas, let's say we want to ask why we attracted a positive thing. It's like the ego can find all the reasons why, yeah, I did this, I attracted this good thing, yeah, because I did that. But when it's something negative, we're like, no, I didn't attract that. How could I possibly have attracted this? The law of attraction operates universally. So we have to accept it. This is natural law. But we can't just get stuck in this dimension, this one dimension of it. This law, again, is universal. So it's not just what meets this eye. It's this eye. It's the unseen realms. We like to think it could be so easy and so simple as to, we just see something that we don't like and we say, oh, it must just be a reflection of me, so let me see how I attracted that. Oh my goodness, we're talking about lifetimes. We don't know that it was even in this lifetime. So we can access the opportunity that lies there in a way that's much simpler, in a way that leaves the unattractive part of the mind out of it, the part that does not work for our highest good. In a way, it's like allowing science and spirit to become friends and back each other up, where in this moments of reflecting upon something we don't like, we simply shift our perspective in the realization that, oh, it's all about this moment, this present moment, and what am I doing with it, and what could I be doing with it that is potentially a better option for the highest good of the one. So when you see someone you don't like, or you see a person doing something you don't like, or there is a situation that makes you uncomfortable or angry, remember that it's just a shift in perspective. Oh, in this moment, I'm going to choose to feed the opposite, which will neutralize the thing that I'm not liking here and across all timelines. This is the way that we can be the most efficient with those things that we just don't like or we hate. And it's so helpful. It's so helpful to do this. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this for myself too. It's so helpful when we do this because it gets us out of our heads in the way that is not working for us, in a way that is negative. It helps to simplify the situation. I constantly am seeing this happen where people say, oh, well, if that's in your life, well, you attracted it. Well, sure, but like that's not helpful. It's not always helpful to see. Sometimes it's helpful. I don't want to negate anything because everything in life is material to come to higher understanding. Everything is just a reflection for us to find the way back home, and there's only one. And so sometimes it will be helpful to say, how did I attract this? How did I Because you may have really just instantly attracted it. You may have called somebody a bad name and then they said something to you that was nasty in return and you don't like it. And in that moment, it's like, okay, well, I have to be honest with myself. I directly attracted this right here, right now. But even then, we're limiting ourselves to that moment in time and space. And that's outside of the present. That's already gone. So in order to truly access healing across timelines, beyond this life and this body, it's more helpful to instead depersonalize the situation every time this is successful. This is the most successful way to look at those things that we don't like. Because again, it doesn't just limit the healing to this body and this life. It allows us to heal that particular energy across time and space for all beings. So again, something you don't like, something that makes you uncomfortable or angry or upset, see its opposite. And when you see and feel and believe in its opposite, then you're really embodying a more productive and efficient energy in consideration of the highest good of the one. Thanks for tuning in for my little rambling here. Tomorrow, I believe, is the new moon. Is today the 4th? Today's the 3rd. 2 days till the new moon. I don't even know what day it is, you guys. I know that many of you can relate to this. So, but the new moon is coming. And there will be a video, so stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to Rebecca Magic yet, just go to youtube.com/Rebecca Magic and hit subscribe so you get more videos like this. And happy new moon as it is upon us. The energies are already here and we're feeling it. We can feel the winds of change. I love it. I love it. Little hints are riding in on those winds of change, letting us know what's to come. And the more we tune in to the whisper of the wind, the more we'll hear the clarity of the notes of that song that's playing right now and the one that's about to be played, the song of the future. So I'm really excited for this new moon reading because I feel a lot of change personally in my life too. And I know that a lot of you are feeling that. And so whenever we get together and do these collective readings, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a moment I look forward to each time I do one of the 4 readings every month. So thank you for tuning in, you guys. Thanks for doing the work. Shalom.